episode of Let's Do a Podcast. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Anthony.
And so for our viewers, it's been like 5 minutes. For our listeners, it's
Did
been
you miss
about a
us
week.
yet?
All right. Um we're ready, I think, for this next episode. I hope that you are. If not, well, too bad, because it's the
Yeah.
last CAGEFEST episode of the year.
Yep. That's it. No more Cage Fest
And
after this.
that's
Until
right.
next year.
So we had to end with a banger. So man, we just did it, and I feel like I'm already struggling to remember how we do things. So with that said, let us talk about beer, then we'll talk about other things. So Anthony, what are you drinking for this episode?
So today, in this episode, which is on a different day, even though we said it's on the same day, it's the different day now to our listeners. But
What?
today, I don't know. I'm just pretending. It's kind of like how they pretend on RuPaul's Drag Race that it's a whole different week when it's actually like 2 days later.
Yeah.
But I'm drinking McConaughey's from Twisted X Brewing out of Dripping Springs, Texas. McConaughey's is I had it pulled up 2 seconds ago.
All right.
It does say that in the description. It's a tantalizingly hazy IPA that marries the exquisite flavors of Citra and Galaxy hops to create a sensory symphony. If I did a Matthew McConaughey impersonation, I'd be doing it right now. So pretend in your minds I'm doing Matthew McConaughey, even though I can't. So with a moderate 6.5% ABV, it strikes a perfect balance, delivering a juicy explosion of tropical and citrus notes from ripe mango, more mango today for me, and passion fruit to zesty orange and grapefruit. Its captivating, cloudy appearance is a prelude to the flavor fiesta within, making it a delightful choice for IPA enthusiasts and newcomers alike, whether enjoyed on a sunny day or shared with friends. McConaughey's IPA promises an unforgettable journey through the world of hops and haze, leaving you yearning for one more sip of its irresistible brew. I bet you that was written by Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, it has
Yeah,
to.
it sounds like something he would say. So
Uh,
McConaughey's, it is a 6.5% IPA, hazy IPA, 15 IBUs. So
nice.
all right.
Let you do the can opening sound.
Yeah,
As
hopefully my
always.
pour is better on this one here. There we go.
Nice. While he's pouring his, I will talk about mine, which is the 71 Hemi Cuda. I feel like it fits our character pretty well of a beer. So, good old Cuda. It is from Wiley Roots Brewing Company. And where are they at? Colorado. Nice. It is a IPA, a triple hazy IPA.
Oh, nice.
9.8%, 0 IBU. Ooh, the color of that's pretty good, Anthony.
Yeah.
Has an average score of 3.93. The only details is a triple hazy IPA with Citra, Amarillo, and Sakumi hops. So that's pretty much all it says. It says keep cold, enjoy fresh, which I kept it for over a year, so it's not that fresh. But I like the can. I kept it because I was like, I need a good podcast episode for this, and I feel like this kind of fits. So
there you go.
we will, of course, I pre-do mine, pre-pour, pre-open, and it's pretty orange juicy looking.
Nice.
So. Anthony, you got a sip of yours. What do you think about it?
It reminds me a lot of Spindletap's Heavy Hands, if you remember that one. Not as sweet as that one, but it's got the same vibe to it, I think.
Ooh. Yeah, no, I'm a fan of what I'm drinking right now. What's in my mouth, I like. I like it. I drink it. So I can't believe I just did that, but that's what that's what you get for a 2-episoder. So
yeah.
So first I want to talk about what we're gonna be watching our next episode. Anthony, do you have any idea?
I have no clue what
No
you're gonna
clue.
say we're gonna watch for not this episode, but for the next one.
So that just shows me he does not look at Instagram much.
I do
So,
not. I
uh,
think I've demonstrated that over
I know,
over our time
I
doing
know,
this podcast
like,
together.
yeah, like I know you. I know better than to even say those
I don't
words.
social media very well.
The fact that I get a text back is usually like it's a big thing, and I
Yeah.
know that. So our drag queens, Trinity the Tuck. Let's see who is. Oh, hold on, who's all in this? So it's Trinity, Heidi in Closet, and Crystal Method did a movie together,
Ooh.
and it's called Slay. To be original. That's how you know it's gonna be perfect. So
The to be seal of approval. I love
yeah.
it.
Yeah. So our next episode, I had to announce it because as soon as I saw it was on Tubi and a Tubi original, and it's some really good drag queens, I'm like, yeah, we're doing this. So for anybody that wants to watch the movie before we talk about it, there you go. So with that said, Anthony, talk to us about some. Actually, I'll talk about some movies first. I try to change it up. I usually forget.
Do
So
it
we're
to
gonna
it.
talk. Let's talk a little bit about Wonka, the musical Wonka movie. We decided to watch it. Have you seen it?
I have not. I keep mentioning it to Monique that we should watch it. And she's like, yeah, we should watch it. And then we don't watch it. So
Um, I am pretty surprised that it has a 7.1 out of 10 rating. Neither one of us liked it.
oh no.
Um,
Didn't like Timmy Chalamet there.
he he played. I did not like. I don't know it. He was a weird Willy Wonka for me. Um, there were things I liked about it, things I disliked about it. Overall, I would probably give it like a 2.5 for me.
So my question is: this is a prequel to the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka or the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka?
I would say the Johnny Depp is
Yeah.
what I would say, because this is pretty much like his story of like whenever he first comes, like whenever he's still a child before he's
Mm,
opened it. So I don't know. I wasn't a fan. I kind of kept my mouth closed till the wife said something first, because I don't want to influence it. If she loved it, I'd be like, great. I'm glad that somebody got something out of it. She did
yeah.
not like it either. And pretty soon after it started, we just would just laugh and make fun of it. There were entertaining things. Yeah, overall, just wasn't my kind of movie. There was really good actors in this movie. I think that's what made me want to like it,
Yeah. How was Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa?
I thought he was fun.
Yeah.
It was
I was
definitely a
curious about that.
surprise.
Yeah.
It I mean, even though you always wonder like, okay, how's it gonna be? I thought he was really fun. I the acting I don't think was the problem. I think it was the writing. I think it was really bad writing. And for me, there are
Yeah.
people out here that love this movie. I say go enjoy it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm guessing Roald Dahl wasn't available to write the script for them.
I would assume not.
Yeah.
So moving on to oh June 7th, we are getting Bad Boys 4.
That's a shock to me. I did not know about that.
Yeah,
What?
I was looking down the list of
Wait. Are we cool with Will Smith again, or are we still not cool with Will Smith? I don't remember where we're supposed to be on this.
I listen. I just found out that we're not allowed to like old school Kanye. So I'm learning. I can't
I don't
keep up with
know, but
everything.
like
I'm old.
College Dropout's so good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. You guys tell us how are we allowed to like Will Smith yet, or is
Yeah,
that
it's
still
like
a no no?
I mean I do like Martin Short though, so he's like he was like really he was like uh what's the he was like Kevin Hart before Kevin Hart. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, he's like a better version though. I think.
But yeah, I mean, really, I think I can't remember where I was, but I was somewhere. I was like, "Oh, I love this song," and it was like "Gold Digger" or something like that, and they're like, "Mm, I'm like, "Oh, really? Okay, we can't even enjoy old stuff before he went too nuts." But okay,
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, I thought that was a shock. Bad Boys 4. I didn't watch 3, so I'm assuming it's just like 1 and 2. So
Yeah, three was pretty good. I like three,
yeah, maybe
but
I'll watch it.
these guys are getting old though. I wonder how long they can keep doing this.
Yeah. Um, and what I know I had another one on here, but
Yeah,
I
it's gonna be
must
like
just be
Lethal
like
Weapon.
Xing out of shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
So the last one I want to talk about, it comes out April 19th. It's a parody movie called Not Another Church Movie.
Mm.
Um, I I'm just like assuming because of the title, it's making fun of church movies. You know how like bad some of them can be. I have not pulled up I'm talking about a movie I've literally not even watched the trailer for. Sadly, I should have, but I did not. Yeah, it says it's a. It follows Tyler Perry, who is given a mission from God himself to tell his family's story and inspire his community. What he doesn't know is that the devil has plans of his own. Okay, so this may not be the movie I thought it would be. I just saw
Yeah,
the
I thought it was gonna
title.
be like not another teen movie, not another
Yeah,
like scary movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe not. It does. The very short trailer looks really stupid. Um, I don't know. There we go. I probably shouldn't have even recommended that. I should have looked more at it before I just pulled it up.
I don't know. It's got Lamorne Harris pretty high in the cast there, and Lamorne Harris as Winston Bishop in New Girl is pretty freaking funny.
Yeah,
So
it has Jamie Foxx.
yeah,
Yeah, it has some people in here. So watch the trailer, come to your own conclusion. I'm just throwing that out there for you. That's my movies, and well, I didn't talk about any shows, but that's my
yeah.
movies.
I was
I
gonna
will talk
mention.
about shows. We just got to season 15. No, yeah, season 15 of Survivor. I think out of like 40 something. I don't know. Um, we are about to finish the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race Canada. Yeah, those are my personal show updates.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I was mentioning to Ryan before the show started, another movie I'm looking forward to on April 26th is Boy Kills World, which it
Oh,
looks like one of those ultra violent movies there. And the thing that really interests me is that it's the lead actor is Bill Skarsgård, but he's mute and he's voice acted. His internal monologue is voice acted by H. John Benjamin, who, as you may or may not be aware, he is the primary voice actor for Bob from Bob's Burgers and Archer from the show Archer. So, looking forward to that. If you haven't seen the trailer for that, check it out. It's freaking hilarious, and it's like Upgrade but funny. So, is what it looks like. So,
there you go. All right, Anthony, what do you have for us on beer around the DFW?
all right. So I'm going to go through a few things, but the important bit is going to be so this coming weekend for those of you listening, and 2 weeks for those of you watching us right now. Um, we have National Beer Day celebration in the community on April 6th and 7th. Big Texas Beer Fest is on April 6th. For those of you going to that, go have
Ooh,
fun there. But the main event is not the this this coming weekend. It's in fact on Monday. Ryan, do you remember what's happening on April 8th?
April 8th is a Monday,
Yeah,
and there's something happening.
there's something happening in Texas at least.
No, I don't know.
It's the Great American Eclipse is going on.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Totality is coming over DFW. So at least where I'm at, we're gonna get at least 2 minutes of totality. It's gonna be pretty epic.
And
A
people are
lot of
freaking
places.
out about it too.
Yeah,
It's
there's a lot
crazy.
of the places out in the middle of nowhere. They're like declaring states of emergency, which I was in Kansas when it happened last time, and totality went through Kansas. And there were a lot of towns in the middle of nowhere that got freaking swamped with people just driving out there. And that was like people just driving from like Kansas City and Denver. I can't imagine that in Texas and like along the path it's in now because it goes a lot over a lot of major metropolitan areas. So it'll be really interesting. I'm not leaving my house when it happens because I can see it from my house. As long as it's not cloudy, it should be fine. We'll see as the weather. We'll see the weather soon on that. But a lot of places are doing eclipse watch parties. Southern Roots Brewing Company, Rollertown Beer Works, Martin House, Three Empires, Siren Rock, Turning Point, Tups, Hop and just about everybody is doing a eclipse party there. I think I also read somewhere that a lot of people are they anticipate a lot of people are going to be taking that day off. I'm taking that day off, so I won't be at work. I already told them, hey, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to go watch the eclipse. I'm thinking everybody's just going to take it as a holiday,
Yeah.
and at least in the people who are close to the path of totality there, so they can check it out and then basically drink and watch the sun get covered by the moon because it's the last time it's going to happen, at least anywhere near here for the next like 40, 50 years. And I don't think I'll really give a crap when I'm 90 years old. So the that's the main thing coming up in this coming week and slash next week. But going a little bit further, we're going to start seeing a lot of summer events start coming up here as we go through their Hops and Props April 27th at the Fort Worth Aviation Museum. Fall Title's 4-year anniversary on May the 4th. And then Tufts Brewing is going to have their 9th anniversary bash. I haven't seen anything on their grand opening that happened a week or so ago, but I'm pretty sure it probably went off great. I haven't heard anything about it. That means it probably went well. So, but their 9th anniversary bash and their new facility is probably going to be epic. Also on May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you. There's probably going to be some Star Wars theming around that as well. So it's going to be pretty epic.
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw the social medias of Tops, and it looks like it went great out there. It looks like an
Good.
amazing place. Like I'm
I
excited
need
to
to go over
come
there. Yeah.
back. Yeah, I'm excited to come back and be able to go visit and see everybody. So, um, yeah. So there's some news. If there's any news that we missed, and if you want to see the things that are happening, I forgot to mention this last time, but Beer and Big D is the link to the website is in our show notes, or if you're on Facebook, you should be able to just click the name and go right there.
Yep. Yeah. Credit where credit's due. The man who runs that website, he really does all the heavy lifting for us and finds that information. So, go check him out. Give him the clicks. Give him the so he can get his ad dollars, ad rev from that website
Yep.
because he does a lot of hard work to get all that information up there.
I concur. I concur. So,
Yeah.
um, let's, I guess, movie. Yeah, movie.
Let's do a podcast.
Let's just do a podcast while we're here. So let's get into this movie. Army of One. Which
I didn't know he did this movie. I'd never heard about this until like a few weeks ago, until it came across my feed on Amazon Prime.
So have you heard of the story before now?
I did.
Okay.
When it happened, I remember seeing something about it on the news about a guy who went to Pakistan
Yeah.
to go find Osama bin Laden. I remember hearing about it. I really didn't think anything of it because it's like, oh, crazy guy went over there and he thought he was going to capture bin Laden. But man, it's a pretty epic story.
Yeah. I don't remember, of course, the details, but yeah, just I kind of like you remember the story of a guy that went to do it, take care of it himself.
Mhm.
I didn't know that. Yeah, this movie even came out. But if you do look up Army of One, there's multiple Army of One movies.
Naturally.
So just make sure it's the Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, it came out in 2016. I think there's another one that came out in 2020 that's of the same name, but not the Nicolas Cage version.
Yeah, it's a completely different type of movie. So
Yeah.
because again, I almost watched the wrong one. So with that said, do the quick synopsis and we'll talk about it.
All right, quick synopsis for Army of One. So, After a personal visit by God himself, the eccentric construction worker Gary Faulkner takes the decision to embark on an adventure in the Badlands of Pakistan to bring Al Qaeda's leader Osama bin Laden to justice. Dun
Yep.
dun dun.
Dum, 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 dum. Um, let me just say, the casting for this movie was amazing.
It was pretty good, yeah.
I love like the actors in this movie were just so good. So of course Nicolas Cage, Russell Brand, Wendy uh Mc oh, McLinda, which people will know her based off of uh oh no, I'm blanking on
Wendy McClendon
everything.
Covey.
Yeah.
She was in Friends. She was in The Goldbergs as the mom. She's been
Yes,
in a ton
yes.
of stuff.
That's what I was trying to think of, the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
Um of course there's Paul Shear, there's Will
Will Sasso.
Sassio,
Yeah. Great
there
comedian, by the
is,
way. I've seen him live.
yeah, Rainn Wilson. Um what happened to my list? I think that's kind of the bigger people, but um yeah, it was a great cast, and I
Reno
I have
911. That's what she's really big from. Reno 911.
oh
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. I have to say the accent that Nicolas Cage chose for this role, wild. I
Yeah.
mean, that so I think we said this last year, but Nicolas Cage says for every role he does a new accent or a different voice. You never really hear it. Every once in a while you get a new one. This is when his voice makes no sense. And it's great. It's really funny.
It makes no sense until they show the clips of the guy in real life at the end, and he, while not as exaggerated as the way Nick Cage portrays it,
Right.
it is pretty on point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh but yeah, I mean pretty much the movie is this guy just freaking thinks that God gave him the mission to go get Osama bin Laden and bring him back to the States. Um, it's so weird. It's such a
Yeah.
weird movie.
Well, it's like, and the thing too, the thing about it too is like, and they specifically make the point at the beginning of the movie that he's not documented. He has no documented mental illnesses. They've checked that he has
Oh
no
yeah,
mental illnesses. He's not crazy. He really, and that's the thing that strikes me about this movie. They portray how genuine and legitimately he believes this stuff. It comes through in the acting. He's not crazy. Maybe he seems a little, maybe he seems unstable, but he's just like truly eccentric. But he genuinely, he comes across as 100% genuine with everybody, even though the shit he's saying is fucking nuts. But he freaking believes it, and he's like 100% legit. And when he says he's going to do something, he freaking does it. He says he's
yeah.
going to sail to Pakistan. He's going to try to sail to Pakistan at least.
I'm not gonna get too much into this, just because I try not to talk about necessarily politics and all these, the religion, all that kind of stuff. But to me, again, so it's just like, yeah, it talks about how he doesn't have technically any like mental health issues, all this kind of stuff. But it's like, okay, these are the type of people that go hardcore into Trump world, MAGA,
Yeah.
the stuff where they believe almost anything that they're told, or and things like that. Like that was kind of like one of my first thoughts was like, this dude, as soon as Trump came around, he was just like, oh yeah, Trump's our savior kind of guy. That's the kind of the vibes he gives off to me. But um and I mean, I think most of our listeners already know where I stand with all of that because we made it very clear. Um and again, just kind of the delusion world that you can live in. I mean, just not necessarily because of religion and all that stuff, but I mean, even everybody can live in a delusional world, and so I think that's kind of where he was. I mean,
Right.
they even talk about because he had was it his gallbladder? No,
Oh, his kidneys.
kidneys. Thank you.
Yeah.
They said like some of the side effects of things can be like hallucinations. So it's just like, okay, so was all this just like hallucinations kind of thing? But it was where I was leaning towards. I mean,
But
definitely
he was
once he got over there and was doing stuff that was very obvious. But like before that,
yeah.
of like the seeing God randomly and having these conversations, kind of the thoughts were like, oh, he's seeing things, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like I think when people have like it strikes me as people when people have those religious experiences that are not they may not necessarily be drug induced or anything like that, but they just like convince themselves that they've experienced something. Because I feel like that's something that you probably can convince yourself when you're in a very intense experience. I feel like it's like if you go to a concert and you just like feel like that presence, whether it's because you're in the crowd or whatnot. It's like this, like, but and maybe it's something like that when he was getting, because I think in the movie, I don't know if this is how it happened in real life or if it's just how they portrayed it, but he had his vision of God portrayed by Russell Brand. Problematic issues with Russell Brand aside, um, we won't really address that here because he's got a lot of them going on right now. But he's Russell Brand portraying God. He just has this intense experience where he basically feels God is telling him and delivering his mission, or he will receive retribution basically from God. He'll be smited. So he receives this intense experience, just purely uh, free of any other influence, at least in the way they depict it, which is really interesting. But it's a totally legit thing that can happen, even to people who are just not crazy.
Mhm.
It's something that you can convince yourself you've experienced, which is really interesting.
So, in the movie, it's still so strange to me. The whole like, for some reason, it seems like he is wanted by women in this movie, which is mind-boggling to me, but really funny at the same
I,
time.
at least there was, as much as I like Wendy McClendon Covey, I feel like she was slightly miscast in this role because I feel like for the type of woman she was portraying, and I think her attractiveness stems from. I think you get a little through their conversations, you get a little bit of backstory, and so like they went to high school together, and she had a crush on him, he had a crush on her,
Mhm.
which he expresses very somewhat graphically to her, and she receives
Yeah.
that interestingly, uh, but uh, but they have this mutual attraction to each other based on their history together, knowing each other in high school. But I feel like she is too attractive for the type of character she's playing
Yeah.
because she's supposed to be this like not strung out, that's the wrong word, but like this tired working mom who's like taking care of her sister's kid from a tryst with a drug dealer. The kid has cerebral palsy, she has to work 3 jobs, and she looks I feel like for the type of position she's in and the fact that she feels that Gary Faulkner is a good prospect for her despite all his craziness. She looks too well put together for all that. I feel like
Yeah.
she should not look as well put together. But they're also this is also not a drama in that sense because I think if they did do that, they would probably make it more of a dramatic type movie. They wanted people to like not look bad. They wanted them to look good because they wanted to be funny, not sad. So I think they maybe took that route instead. But she does look like she is not. She's very aiming low
Yeah.
during the course of this movie. So
Um, so to go on to different parts of the movie. I so his original plan is to buy a boat and sail to Pakistan, which is so funny.
Yeah,
Um,
which is
he
possible if you
he
know how to sail.
yeah, but he's never sailed in his life. He gets his doctor to give him $1,000 to buy this boat. He finally gets in the boat, doesn't know what he's doing, and ends up in, well, he says Mexico, but apparently ends up being San Diego. Um, which again is really funny. Um, then he decides to parasail, right? Isn't that what it is?
He gets a hang glider,
And
and he's gonna
glider.
hang glide from a mountain in Israel to Pakistan. Now, so at least his plan to sail to Pakistan was at least logistically possible, if not realistically possible. The hang gliding to Pakistan thing, however, was not realistic in the least because those there are a lot of countries between Israel and Pakistan. You didn't even look
Yeah.
at a freaking map for that one.
Well, obviously for many
Yeah.
reasons. But yeah, he found what he wanted and he was just like, how would I put this back together? I love that whenever he's at the store before he buys it,
Yeah.
he's like, so how would I pack this and like, unpack it to fly from Israel to Pakistan? The guy's like, no, you can't. He buys it anyways, gets a saw and just like chops it all up, gets on a mountain to jump off and falls immediately, breaks his like leg and arm, which is really funny.
You know what I love is that when he comes back, uh, uh, Marcy, she says to him, "Why did I watch you do that? Why did I let you do that?"
Yeah.
Which is what we're all as the audience thinking. Why did you just like watch him do that and let him just chop up this hang glider and then fly to Israel? And
Yeah.
it's like that's nuts.
And then, oh, also, I forgot to mention, for some reason, he has a samurai sword that he is taking with him to Pakistan. That whole thing, too, of like, he tries to carry it onto the airplane, which is, of course, they stop him, like, you can't do that. So he has to pack it. Um, so the last way he decides to get there is by airplane. So he buys a ticket, he packs everything, and he gets there. Like a normal person, he flies there,
Yeah.
which is so funny.
Which and I feel
And I
like
keep
this
saying it's so funny, but
Yeah, I feel like and it's feel like it's really interesting because I feel like this movie is, like, split into 2 halves. You have first half there where it's very much Gary's home life and
yeah,
establishing his relationship with Marcy and her uh, niece
he's
slash
yeah,
daughter, and all the people that he knows back in Greeley, Colorado, basically his domestic life. And then it's like all of a sudden we're now Islamabad and everything that's happening in Islam. And it's like all this stuff happening back in the U.S. and all this nice stuff. And then he's like in Islamabad, but it's like this guy's just like the luckiest guy in the world. And now one thing I know, having spent a little bit of time in the Middle East, the people in the Middle East and in the South Asia region, particularly in a lot of Muslim countries, they'll give you the shirt off your back. So everything that happened when he was there is legit. Those
yeah,
people there, they are the nicest people in the world. They get a lot of bad. I feel like they get a lot of bad rap, like with everything that's happened
they do.
geopolitically in the past
Yeah,
like 20, 30 years. But they are like the nicest salt of the earth people. Everything we see in this movie is like 100% legit in my experience. Like a lot of people they don't give it they know that you're not the government. They know you're just a dude from America. And a lot of people, like, they were like given the chance, they love to go live in America. They are interested in like going having hamburgers and just like seeing they're all like all the dudes over there are like interested in the women and stuff like that. It's like
yeah,
100% legit.
yeah,
Again, in my experience, when I got to talk to Iraqis when I was overseas with the army, but I thought it was really cool that they didn't depict people in Pakistan in the way that you see them in a lot of movies as like
yes,
some scary people, and he should have been afraid. Everybody was so nice, even when he was like causing chaos. People were still nice to him and very
yeah,
And
Yeah.
like number one, he's got a sword, so they're gonna be nice to him because he got a sword. But he's like barging around, and their people are still nice to him and welcome him with open arms. And I thought it was so cool that they depicted the Islamic culture there, and their openness towards foreigners to some extent were was pretty great. I thought that was very well done. That they didn't show it as some kind of scary experience. It's there. It's not the safest part of the world there, but it's still like the CIA was more of a threat to him there than the people in at Pakistan.
Yeah. And I mean, and I feel like just getting on a real level of that, I feel like that's a common thing here in America is we look at other countries and it's because of what we're fed. We're
Hmm.
fed of other countries have things way worse. They're the people aren't like we are. You know, all that kind of stuff. Um but yeah, just experiences that I've had, the places that I've gone, it's just like, man, other places are great. Like,
Yeah.
you know, just it's because again, I'm not going to get too much into it, but just because of I feel like the things that we're shown and told, we just assume the worst
Hmm.
versus the reality.
Right.
Um, and I think it sounds like it's the same thing in other countries as well as they're told the worst about America, but like whenever they've come and visited, they're like, oh, you know, because I do know quite a few people that have come from the UK even to come here, and I mean a few of them live here now. They're like, you know, from what we were told versus the reality is like completely different. We just thought
Right.
everybody's shooting everybody, you know, kind of just like crazy stuff that we're like, what? But which I mean, kind of are, but you know,
Yeah. It's still like more likely here than a lot of other places, but yeah, not
yeah.
quite to that level. Not yet. So
So I feel like that's a common thing is like the places we live try to make it so it's like where you live is the best. You know,
right.
whether it's in the States, whether it's anywhere overseas, wherever it is. And I think it's just to get people to stay where they are and
Hmm.
think, oh, I don't need to live. Anyways, I'll move on. But um, so yes, I very much did like that too. That they weren't painted because I did kind of wonder. I was like, oh gosh, I hope they're not stereotypical racist kind of stuff
Yeah.
when once they get it, he gets over there. But yeah, I thought they did. It was great. I mean, I'm just spoiler alert. He does not find Osama, so I
Yeah.
just want that to be.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, he doesn't he's not the guy that gets
He
Osama
does
bin Laden
not
at the
do
end.
it.
Yeah.
They send him home and tell him not to come back. So,
Yeah.
which according to the movie, he's trying to get better so he can go back. So, um, anything else before we move on to likes and dislikes?
No, yeah, I think we gave it good coverage there.
All right, so we're gonna start with the dislikes and then do likes. So I started last time, so Anthony, it's you. What do you like about this movie, or
What
either
do I
one,
like?
like or dislike? It doesn't matter.
So let's start with what I didn't like.
All right.
So what I didn't like in this movie, uh, I don't know. We couldn't know at the time, at least not necessarily we little people, but now knowing what we know now, I really wish we had somebody other than Russell Brand playing God. Now that I'm drinking this McConaughey's. I feel like Matthew McConaughey probably would have been a good option as
That would have been
God.
fun.
That would have been pretty epic. But I think that's like one of my main issues with this movie is now that we know what we know about some of the things that are going on with Russell Brand, it kind of I was watching it. I saw Russell Brand, and I've heard some things about all the stuff that's going on with him, and he's like also I think he's like also got some like COVID misinformation stuff he's doing, and anti-vax stuff and all this other stuff, and I'm just like he's in this movie. We gotta address that. And I'm like, I wish somebody like Matthew McConaughey were playing him because I feel like he gives that kind of vibe, but better, like of
Yeah,
that loose vibe. But he could also like give that serious Smite vibe too. But I don't know if Matthew McConaughey would have been in this movie. I'm not sure.
no.
But But that's my main thing. As knowing what we know now, we we could have done better with somebody playing God. So, but I mean, Russell Brand did okay in there. He's not in there too much, but yeah, that's other than that, I don't have many other things to complain about in this movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else really. Uh, Time wise, so it was like an hour and a half. So
Hmm.
it
Yeah, it was tight.
it didn't feel drawn out. Um, I feel like the normal things that I complain about for my dislikes aren't valid for this movie. So I guess I'll just say that I wish we had more from Nicholas, so Gary's friends. Uh Pickles and Roy. No.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that was them. Uh so Paul Shear and Sassio. So uh, I thought that the scenes that they were in were great because they're just really goofy guys. They're really funny. So I'm just like, man, as soon as I saw them in this, I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. Nicolas Cage and these two, hell yeah. Uh, they're not in it much. I wish that they were in it a lot more.
yeah.
To really just bring the comedy in more into this. It was still funny. I laughed a lot in this movie. Um, because of just how crazy it was. But I my dislikes is just wishing that these bigger actors that were in here were in it more.
Yeah.
So I would say that's probably my best. Of course, besides same one as Anthony, because I try to pick new things. That's my only other complaint. So, what is your like about this movie?
I really liked how Nick Cage depicts Gary Faulkner's sanity in this movie, and how he depicts his how he depicts and people would think he would depicts his insanity, but again, he's not crazy.
Not crazy.
He's like got no mental illnesses that are diagnosed, at least at the time. The only thing he's got is kidney failure or kidney disease. So how he depicts his sanity. You watch this movie and you're thinking to himself, he could snap at any minute and just like become a terrible person, but he never does. He plays this guy as 100% genuine. You realize that while some of these guys are like annoyed with him because he can't like hold down a stable job, that he's like bumming off of people and sleeping on their couches. He's like still like a ride or die, super nice guy, genuine. He doesn't BS anybody. He says it like it is. You may not like the stuff he's saying at the time. It may be annoying. That voice is freaking grating as hell. But he is like 100% genuine, cool guy who's not going to bullshit you. And the way that's depicted, you get that delivered via Nick Cage's performance 100%. It's sold so well. Again, the intensity of it, I thought it's like he's gonna snap at any minute, and I'm waiting for him because, like, again, we see the uh, Marcy's daughter with cerebral palsy, and I'm just like waiting for him to do something that's gonna like either either psychologically or even like hopefully not physically harm the kid at some point, and it never happens. Even though like you're like waiting because like there's always something in these movies where these guys are like somewhat unstable, where something happens, even if it's accidental, where somebody gets hurt because of this, but it never
Yeah.
happens because he's not that kind of guy. He's like sane. He's just a loudmouth. And he says it like it is, but he's like 100% genuine. He's like, rah, rah, love America. America's freaking awesome. And I'm going to kill bin Laden. But other than that, he's like, just like super nice dude.
Hey,
And so
hey,
the
hey,
way they
hey.
portrayed that is great.
He is not gonna kill Bin Laden. He
Not
made
kill. That's
sure
right. He's not going to kill him.
he
He's going to
made
capture
sure
him.
people knew he's not
Yeah.
killing them.
But the way they I really loved the depiction because they really put the emphasis on the fact that this dude's not crazy. He's like, he maybe comes across as crazy, but he's not crazy.
Yeah. He's crazy, but not crazy.
Yeah.
So I I concur with the things that Anthony said. I did like those. Um, I also really, really liked, and I mean, it's hard because you already mentioned what my like was, which is how the Arabs were portrayed in the movie. The people in Pakistan and all that stuff. Like, I absolutely loved how real it felt.
Mm-hmm.
And and I also, I mean, I do have to give props to Nicolas Cage of this role. Um eh, I think this is the third time I will literally say I liked Nicolas Cage in this movie. Um I've enjoyed him in movies, but this is probably the on my list of movies I would suggest to people for a Nicolas Cage movie because
Mm-hmm.
it's funny, it's crazy, it's silly, it's cringe, it's heartwarming. Like, you really get everything out of this movie. I mean, he loves the shit out of that kid, and I love it. Even though he
Yeah.
says the wrong things, he uses the wrong words. He talks about how he's
He
as
called he
crippled.
met references her as crippled. It's like she's like, we don't say that, but he
Yeah,
says that
he's
a few more
like,
times.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's like, I'm as crippled as her, and I'm like, no.
yeah. It's like you
As soon as
still
he
shouldn't
said
say
that, we were
that.
both
Yeah.
like, ugh. But and again, it's because he's just an ignorant person, but he's trying to be the right person. So
Yeah.
you know, uh, he plays it very well. So
Yeah.
I think the actors were awesome in this movie. Um, yeah, overall, there was quite a lot that I did enjoy about this movie.
One
Um,
thing we didn't mention that was really good, the sword fight with Osama bin Laden was
oh
pretty
yeah,
great.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. I was even going to talk about, like,
Yeah.
I versus so the last movie. It was hard to tell when he was hallucinating. This movie, you knew it immediately whenever he was hallucinating.
Yeah.
There was, yeah, no doubt about it that you're like, this guy is tripping balls right now because he's not on his medicines. So um yeah, so I'd
Which
say
is
those things are my likes.
which
So
I thought it was funny because that scene where they're both on their kidney dialysis machines, and
yeah.
it references a little bit of comedy, a little comedy scene, comedy bit we saw from Carlos Mencia, which that's a throwback. I saw that, I was like, Carlos Mencia. You remember Carlos Mencia and how much he was like all over the place,
Uh-uh.
like back in the well, at least for me, he was like all over Comedy Central, and like everything was
Uh,
Carlos Mencia all the time.
I mean, you
And
are
so
old, so
I am pretty old, so I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, Carlos Mencia, he was there and then he was gone." Because he was very insensitive in his remarks about stuff, but it was also the early 2000s, so he don't go back and look at his comedy because it did not age very well at all.
mm,
But it references that little comedy bit there where they're talking about how Osama bin Laden has to carry his kidney dialysis machine with him because Osama bin Laden also has had apparently kidney issues as well, and so that they start there both on the kidney machine, and he's like basically like telling Gary, he's like, "Hey, stop chasing after me," which again ends up in a sword fight. Pretty great, but
yeah. Um
that was like one of my favorite scenes.
it was a great one.
Yeah.
So on Letterbox, we are on there. Let's do a podcast on Letterbox. Give us a follow. You can go there, rate movies that you've seen, make top 5, all that kind of fun stuff. We are Let's Do a Podcast. Anthony, 1 from 5. You can do halves. How would you rate this movie?
I put this one firmly at 3.5 myself. I think it gets that 3.5 there. Really enjoyed it. It's a great, solid movie. Not the best I've ever seen from Nick Cage, but the solid characterization there. The writing was great. The writing was okay. The editing was Nick Cage himself kind of complained about the edit that this movie got there. He feels like it would have been even better if the director got the final cut there. This movie was also unfortunately produced by Harvey Weinstein, which that also has its issues there before he got ultimately taken out and imprisoned. But apparently he apparently got his hands on that and had a heavy hand in the edit there. So hopefully, maybe
Yikes.
we get a director's cut on that. Yeah, yikes indeed. So yeah, some controversial figures involved in this movie. Nick Cage, not one of them. We haven't learned anything too bad about him yet. So
Yet,
the only thing we know bad about him is that he owed a lot of money in taxes, and thus he just does every movie he can. So I'm okay with that.
So what was your rating? I'm sorry.
It was 3.5.
3.5. Okay. Um, I think that's a good place for the rating for me as well. I was leaning towards 4, so three. I think 3.5 is a good one. Would you put this on the liked list for us?
Yes,
I
I
think
would
so
put it
too.
on for Nick Cage. I'd say this is not again. This is not Nick Cage's best. I'd say his best is probably still. I think Pig was the one we said we liked the
I
most,
mean, yeah, Pig is
and Willy's
amazing.
Wonderland. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
So,
yeah,
but
those are
it's
his tops for sure.
yeah, but I'd still say this was a good Nick Cage movie. I enjoyed it.
Was was.
Yeah,
And I agree with all of that. This is one where somebody was just like, I just want a good laugh, and a
yeah,
Nicolas Cage. I'd point him this direction.
yeah. He doesn't go full. He doesn't go full Nick Cage, but he didn't have to in this movie.
He really didn't.
Yeah.
So there you go. So moving on. How are you on beer? You almost done, or should we do thing of the week?
What beer? I never had any beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our beer. So go ahead, Anthony. You can talk about yours.
So I had the Makana Haze. So as it went there, again, it reminds me a lot of maybe a little bit lighter version of Spindle Tap's Heavy Hands, which is
Mhm.
another hazy that I like. So Makana Haze, it had a really good flavor. Everything they said in the description there, the mango, the citrus flavors, the everything else that they mentioned there, all there was pretty great. I give it a firm. I give it a firm 4. It's pretty good.
Nice. So mine was. Ooh, I have the wrong beer up. Boop boop boop. Mine was the 71 Hemi Cuda. Is the triple hazy IPA from Wiley Roots Brewing in Colorado. Um, I think I would give this a good 4. Again, because I think it's an older beer in my fridge. I think
Hmm.
has kind of diluted it a little bit, kind of made it not as great.
Age has
Um,
not been kind to it. Yeah.
yeah, it's still a good beer. I could see this being on tap, just killer good. Um, I'm leaving about that much because there's just so much of the little gunk stuff
Yeah.
sometimes that gets in it. And it's like giant too, so I'm just like,
Yeah,
"Ugh, I don't really want to get
hate to
that."
see that. I hate
I
when that
can
in there.
do
Yeah,
like little ones, I don't mind, but if it's like a giant clump, I'm like, ugh, I can't do that.
yeah.
Um,
You
yeah,
don't wanna chew on your beer?
no, I'm not. I don't want to eat my beer, so.
Yeah.
But I do think flavor wise and everything, it was really good. So yeah, I think a 4. Yeah, I think a good 4 to 4.25. Let's say.
Nice.
Um, so thing of the week. You went first last
I
time.
did.
I'll go first this time, I guess. I'm starting a new hobby. Um, there are things that I've wanted to do for a long time that I've always just kind of put off, but spoiler alert, I got a promotion at work. I make some more money.
Nice.
Hopefully my wife should be getting her promotion soon. So I'm like, you know what? I actually have like time and money. I can learn the things, get like top, I can do things. So this is a little thing, at least for now, is one of the hobbies that I'm going to learn is Magic the Gathering, the game. I want to learn, I want to get good, I want to play, and I want to go to like meetups and I watch people play it and all that stuff, and I've always been interested. Um, Seems fun. And the other one is I'm gonna learn to play piano. So
Nice.
yeah, those are two things that I've wanted to do, and I've decided to pull the trigger and do it. Uh, so I guess the thing of the week is those, and just to encourage people to do things that they've wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to spend a lot of money to play Magic, and I mean, I didn't. I think you can play for like what, $50 for everything
Yeah.
that you need.
You get like a starter deck and all that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
spent more than I should, but I'm like, I'm gonna get what I want. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I got like the Doctor Who starter pack. I'm
Oh man,
playing
I
that.
forgot there's like so many specialized things for Magic. I remember Magic
Yeah,
from when I was in middle school, which it was like, oh man, when was that? That was like in the mid '90s.
yeah.
So, and
Uh,
that's when it like I think that's when it first started. But I didn't start. I ended up playing a different game, so I didn't end up playing Magic. But I was aware of the people playing Magic. So
yeah. That I mean, because I mean, I grew up pretty religious, so like Magic isn't something I could have played,
hmm
but I knew about it. So I'm just like, you know what? I have a lot of friends that play because you can. There's like this website that's like put together to play like live Magic the Gathering. So you put your cards down, you put the camera facing your cards, and you play with your friends and stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I've been watching them play. I'm gonna just do it.
yeah,
Um,
that's awesome.
so yeah, I just suggest, I mean, my suggestion is find ways to make hobbies, because I've definitely been learning that creating and doing things that I enjoy for hobbies is pretty important. So there you go, Anthony. What is yours?
My thing of the week is super stupid. Nothing all that creative happening with me. All these new things happening with AI chat bots and everything going on. I've been avoiding them because I'm very big on because like all these things like Mid Journey and everything, where like it's like AI art and it's like really harming real artists and everything. So I've avoided using it, but
Yeah.
there's been a lot of talk about being able to use it to for research tasks for me at work, because I have a lot of documentation I have to go through, a lot of standards I have to be aware of as an engineer. And As I go through stuff, it may take me like a day or two just to like write outlines for documents before I go and write like a test plan or something for working on an aircraft, for example. And so there's been a lot of discussion about it, about being able to use it to just kind of go through these reams and reams of documents. And instead of just me having to sit down and read through all this stuff, so I can pull the stuff I need using AI to go through this documentation for us and then pull the stuff we need for us and then kind of like tune things. So what I did, since there's all this discussion going on for how to make our life simpler at work and be able to do stuff faster, I saw that there was the Microsoft Copilot AI that's starting to get added on. I see it on my screens right now. They added it into the Microsoft there, and so I popped it up and tried it. And the first thing I was like, all right, let's see what this thing can do. And so I just told it to write me a story about something stupid. And I am a fan of just absurd, stupid, funny stuff, nonsensical stories. I gave it a prompt that ended up spitting out a stupid, nonsensical story. And I tell you, I laughed so hard. It's like I watched an episode of a really funny episode of Whose Line Is It Anyways, which I laughed so hard I couldn't breathe because it was so stupid. And so now I have a habit of whenever I get bored, popping in its stupid prompt into a chatbot, and it spits out a stupid, dumb story that makes me laugh my ass off. I think my wife's getting tired of me just like hearing me laughing like a little kid in the other room, because I think I have a series of stories that I'm just like putting in new prompts with these characters that I'm just like created randomly. But it's like a detective story with featuring a detective that's created whole cloth and the band Interpol randomly. Yeah, it's the stupidest, dumbest, silliest thing. I started looking at this tool for doing research, and now I just have it writing stupid stories for me to read only that exist on my phone. And yeah, that's my thing of the week. Stupid, dumb uses of really high level technology. I'll eventually use this stuff for work, so I can make my job a little bit easier and do stuff faster. But my goodness, I'm gonna have to like,
Yeah.
I need to get control. I need to stop like making stupid stories.
So I've been using it to make really dumb pictures.
Uh huh.
Um, of course, it started off with corgi stuff. So I did a corgi riding a dinosaur into battle, and
Uh
it
huh.
was the wildest shit. It was like a corgi on top of a dinosaur, but the dinosaur had corgi legs. And like it was just like crazy shit that I was laughing so hard. I
Yeah.
love to make things. Eventually it'll stop and be like, sorry, I don't make images. I'm like, bitch, you just made a ton. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I avoided it for a long time as well because I'm like, like what, as long as I'm using it for this purpose and not the purpose of actually creating something that I'm going to put out,
Right.
I get it. Like that I'm okay with. But like these people that are selling AI art and shit, like get a hold
Yeah.
of yourself. Get a
Yeah.
hold of yourself. That is disgusting.
Yeah, I don't like it when I see that. I did see one with recently the Irving marathons. They did post an image that was very obviously AI generated. I was like, I don't really care for that because you're using it for a commercial event and you're basically popping this in, and you could have paid an artist to do that.
Yeah.
So
So with that said, hey, support your local artists.
yes,
Um Also, I didn't say this at the beginning, but also support your local breweries. So they need
yes,
your help more than now than ever.
hundo
So,
percent.
um, last little announcement. Some people might know what this little flag is. So I'm also coming out as non-binary. So that's fun. Use they them pronouns and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's something I hinted at forever ago that I'm just going through something, kind of hoped one day to share with you all. So I'm throwing that out there to share with everybody because I'm gonna live my authentic self. So there we go. Of
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
course, I mean everybody I've told has been more than supportive and awesome about it, especially the spouse. The wife has really embraced it and been awesome, and uh yeah, everybody. So um I guess that's it, right? I think we hit all the
I
things.
think we hit it. So
So
the
that's
social medias.
mhm.
Yep. So I think, and I'm probably gonna miss some here. So you can find us on Facebook at Let's Do a Podcast. You can find us on Twitch at Let's Twitch Up. Is it Twitch a Pod or Twitch a Podcast?
It is Let's Twitch a Podcast.
Okay. Uh, it YouTube at Let's Do a Podcast 22.
I think so.
Uh,
Yeah.
and Letterbox Let's Do a Podcast. Untapped at Let's Do a Podcast, and you can find us on your favorite streaming podcast streaming service there. If we're not there and you use some other service, let us know, and we can get the link set up with that carrier there, so we can make sure we are on your favorite streaming service there. But we should be on all the major ones.
Yep. And also we will be watching Slay on a Tubi exclusive. So feel free to watch that before we talk about it. I would
I am really
love
looking
to
forward
know.
to that. I'm
I would
really looking
really
forward to that.
it's gonna be awful.
Yeah.
This, but I am really looking forward to what people think. So
I was looking after you told me. I was looking, and apparently, on the RuPaul's Drag Race subreddit, they're saying it's actually pretty good.
ooh,
Yeah,
we might get a good
yeah.
drag race. Which, okay, there's so many drag movies, so I feel like we almost have to do a drag movie month, maybe.
Yeah. Well, we got to
Um,
see what it's out there. There may be
there's a
some really
lot
bad
out there.
ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But again, if you have movie or beer recommendations, please let us know. We would love to try those beers and watch those movies, or watch those beers and drink those movies, depending how you want to look at it.
Yeah, it depends how much
And
beer I've had at the time. So.
exactly. So besides that, thank you everybody for hanging out. We appreciate it more than ever. And let's end a podcast. Bye.
Peace.
Penetration.